A government shutdown could be right around the corner. The support Congress needs to keep it funded.
Clear skies for now, but colder air is moving into Central Texas. We show you who could freeze tomorrow morning for the beginning of winter.
And it's a busy time for holiday travel. The number of Texans expected to be on the roads and take to the skies. But first, Austin police launched an investigation today into how a man ended up dead in Lady Bird Lake. Police say at about 11 this morning, someone called 911 about an older man in the water. First responders came out and found the person dead. At this time, police say no foul play is suspected and there is no threat to the public. However, Austin police say they know there is heightened awareness when it comes to deaths and drownings in and around the lake in recent years.
The process is the process. The public is going to have their concerns. We would love to provide all the answers as soon as we came out here, as soon as that 911 call came out, but it obviously is a process.
Investigators say that if anyone out there knows anything or saw something, they should reach out immediately to Austin police. In Washington now, lawmakers are voting on an agreement to fund the government. The bill on the table just got the support of the president. NBC's Alice Barr is in Washington watching these efforts for a deal before the clock runs out.
In the final hours before a midnight government shutdown deadline, House Republicans huddling and hoping for consensus to keep the government funded and open.
I expect that we will be proceeding forward. We will not have a government shutdown and we will meet our obligations.
To fund the government through mid-March and then on much needed disaster relief for Hurricanes Helene and Milton and aid for the nation's farmers. The votes will need at least some Democrat support. The party's top leader in the House saying lines of communication are reopened.
We're going to work as hard as we can to avoid a Republican-driven government shutdown.
The Senate's top Democrat with this message.
It's time to go back to the original agreement we had just a few days ago.
That bipartisan deal blew up when President-elect Trump and his billionaire cost-cutting advisor Elon Musk started slamming the package for having too much rolled into it. The president-elect then threw another wrench, demanding any new deal extend or eliminate the nation's debt ceiling. But last night, 38 House Republicans voted against a new Trump-approved proposal.
To take this bill yesterday and congratulate yourself because it's shorter in pages but increases the debt by $5 trillion is asinine. And that's precisely what Republicans are doing.
Some now acknowledging a brief shutdown could be coming.
Nothing really happens to shut down the government if there is a few-hour lapse.
Longer than that, and millions of federal workers will go on furlough while essential workers have to stay on the job without pay over the holidays. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Back here in Texas, a House committee expected to hear from a Texas man on death row at the state capitol. That did not happen, though, after a legal move from the Texas Attorney General's office that blocked it. A group of bipartisan lawmakers say they believe that man, Robert Robertson, is wrongfully convicted. However, the Attorney General and others argue otherwise. Dylan McKim sat in on today's committee hearing as the lawmakers say they will continue to fight.
I don't intend to relent at all.
We're committed to getting this right.
And I will be damned if I'm going to sit idly by. And
the message is clear from both Republicans and Democrats on the House committee.
And seeing that justice is done.
They won't stop fighting. Not in attendance on Friday, Robert Robertson, a Texas man convicted of killing his 2-year-old daughter in 2003. He was scheduled to be executed earlier this year, but this committee used a last-minute legal move to block it. The members believe new evidence proves he's innocent, and outdated science led to his conviction in the first place, and he deserves a new trial. In a subpoena this month, they compelled the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to transport Robertson to Austin to testify in front of the committee. But the Texas Attorney General's office filed a motion to block the subpoena, saying it creates serious security risk and claiming it wasn't issued correctly.
This is a lie.
The committee disagrees and feels the Attorney General is setting a bad precedent.
The Attorney General telling a standing committee of the Texas House that we cannot communicate with the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Mr. Burns, welcome.
We did hear from Josh Burns. He shares a connection to Robertson. They were both convicted of harming their child using outdated science, except Burns was recently exonerated. He believes Robertson deserves another trial, and he has a message for Attorney General Ken Paxton.
Put politics aside, put grudges aside. A man's life hangs in the balance here.
As the legal fight continues, Robertson will remain in prison, his fate up in the air.
I would tell him not to give up, to never give up hope.
In Austin, I'm Dylan McKim.
Lawmakers on the Texas House Committee said they plan to invite Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton to testify before them in early January. There is a deadline to keep in mind, though. The new legislative session begins on January 14th. On that date, all committees will be disbanded. Lawmakers say they want answers before then.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon.
Chilly start, but it was a really pleasant afternoon, and we still have completely clear skies from our Lorenz 360 cam from Westlake Hills looking toward downtown. You wouldn't know it, but a cold front is moving through Central Texas, driving in wind from the northeast, which is a different direction than we typically get after a cold front. Usually it's the north or northwest. But this so-called backdoor cold front bringing in chilly air from the northeast instead. So our temperatures have been dropping a little earlier today. Low to mid 60s for most of us. Still some upper 60s in the areas yet affected by the cold front, but we're all chillier than this time yesterday. That's going to set us up for a cold night. 60 at 6, 53 at 8. 40s already by 10 o'clock. If you've got Friday night plans, I would bundle up appropriately. We'll show you who's going to be near freezing tonight into tomorrow morning as we take you into your weekend forecast, the first weekend of winter beginning tomorrow morning, and then we turn wetter yet warmer for next week.
Nick, thanks so much. A toddler and an adult are dead, and dozens of others are hurt after a car drove through a crowd of people today in Germany. It happened at a popular Christmas market in an eastern German city. The news agency AFP, citing emergency services on the ground, said up to 80 people had been hurt. The driver has now been arrested, and Reuters is reporting that a city spokesperson called the incident an attack. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz posted a statement on X, writing here, quote, "My thoughts are with the victims and their families, and we stand by their side and by the side of the people of Magdeburg. My thanks go to the dedicated rescue workers in these anxious hours." Turning now to a live look outside here in Austin. This is traffic along I-35 near Runberg in Austin. Things are moving along pretty well out there this time of day, and with many drivers starting their holiday travel. AAA Texas is reporting that more than 9 million Texans will hit the roads and take to the skies between tomorrow and the new year. That number is up 2% compared to this time last year. And while that's still a lot of people, that number is down almost 4% from 2019. The insurance agency predicts that more than 8 million people will travel by car, while others take a flight or other forms of transit. Taking a look at travel nationally here in the U.S., almost 120 million people are expected to travel more than 50 miles for the holiday. To learn the top 10 destinations where people are heading, digital reporter Kelsey Thompson has a list on our website, KXAN.com. Tesla is recalling almost 700,000 vehicles. It's over an issue with the warning light on the tire pressure monitoring system. The Austin-based electric car company says the recall includes certain 2024 Cybertrucks, the 2017 to 2025 Model 3, and the 2020 to 2025 Model Y vehicles. The monitoring system warning light on those vehicles may not remain illuminated between drive cycles, failing to warn drivers of low tire pressure. Driving with improperly inflated tires can increase the risk of a crash. You have probably seen cars just like this decked out in Christmas lights while you're out and about here in Austin. It's a flashy TikTok trend that's going around, and we wanted to know if there are any laws against these kinds of displays. Austin police actually told us that cars with flashing lights that are not associated with a first responder, maintenance, or construction worker do in fact violate the Texas Transportation Code. Police also said that they do pose a risk to drivers by possibly preventing them from being able to see, and that the lights could get stuck in tires or on the steering wheel. It is a massive football weekend in Texas, and no game is bigger than the Longhorns taking on Clemson right here in Austin in the inaugural 12-team college football playoff. It's also the final home game of the season for the Longhorns, and it is expected to be a raucous atmosphere, to say the least. Right now, our Avery Travis and Noah Gross, two of my faves out there, are joining us from the stadium to break down every angle of this matchup. Hi there, you two.
Hey there, Will. Okay, you know that I am always wearing my burnt orange on a Friday before a home game, but usually I don't get to talk about it on TV.
She's excited.
Because I have to maintain some journalistic integrity. But when it comes to Texas football, it's tough. Thankfully, we have Noah Gross here who can talk about this game with a little bit more, what do you say? You know,
a neutral purple.
There we go.
Yeah, especially when, you know, Clemson's orange too, so I mean you're almost unbiased today as well.
I have to say there's a stark difference in my opinion in burnt orange and then Clemson Tiger orange. But talk to us a little bit about how we got here. I think everybody's still trying to wrap their brains around this 12-team playoff. It's the first year of it and really means that you know, UT is hosting, as Will said, their first playoff game here at home. So back us up. How did we get here?
Yeah, Texas lost 2 games this year, both to Georgia. Last year, if they lost 2 games, it was a 4-team playoff. No chance they would have gotten in. They would have had to win against Georgia in the SEC championship game. But Texas really had an outstanding season. It was just those 2 losses to the Georgia Bulldogs, one here at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium and then one in the SEC championship game. If Texas beat Georgia, they'd be off this week, getting to watch everybody else stress over the first round of the college football playoff. But no, they're playing, which there's probably some happy people in the city of Austin as far as bringing some revenue in and for the university getting to host a playoff game as well. So Texas and Clemson here Saturday in the first round.
I have to say, as a fan, it would have been nice to have that week off, that sigh of relief. But, you know, we talked to tourism experts here in Austin who were saying there's a huge boom by hosting this game this time of year at a time when, you know, December isn't necessarily known as a booming time for Austin. We often think of October with ACL, F1. December can be a little slow here in the city. And so Visit Austin told us this is huge for them. We talked to a hotel who says they're expecting to be way more full than they would have been otherwise. So definitely kind of a Christmas gift for everybody to get to host this game. So, okay, now talk to us about, we know the winner of this game will move on to the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. What are the odds? I'm biased. I know who I think is moving on to the next game, but
can you tell?
What do the experts say?
Well, Texas is a favorite in this game, as is always the case. If you ask a team, what do you think about being the favorite? They're going to say, that doesn't matter to us, you know, all the things like that. But I will just say, we were talking before, you were a student here during what you called the dark ages of Texas football. Pretty incredible what this program has turned into right now. Last year in the 4-team college football playoff, Texas made it, had the heartbreaking loss to Washington in the Sugar Bowl, but they're the only team from that 4-team playoff to now make the 12-team playoff as well. So just kind of shows how far this program has come to make the 4-team and 12-team so consistent right now. And if they win, it's back to the place where they just lost to Georgia, Atlanta, to face Arizona State in the Peach Bowl. But first things first, as Texas people will say, it is Texas and Clemson.
Hey, yeah, we're getting real good at looking at those Austin to Atlanta flights, I can say from a personal experience. Okay, Noah, thanks for breaking it all down for us. We'll send it back to you in the studio. And I have to say, because I am a Longhorn, hook 'em horns.
You have to.
Perfect way to end it right there. Noah and Avery, thanks so much again for joining us out there by campus. Nick, a lot of people who might be going to the game tomorrow, they're wondering what the forecast is like. Nice conditions for it.
Nice. First day of winter tomorrow.
And hard to believe.
I know, right? But we'll be in the low 60s for a kickoff here tomorrow. We actually have what's called a backdoor cold front moving through right now. It has cleared Austin. It's called this because it comes from the northeast and moves southwest, as opposed to our typical cold fronts that come from the north or northwest and then move southeast. The impact is the same in that we are going to notice colder temperatures tonight and cooler temperatures during the day tomorrow. We're not feeling a huge rush of wind, but the wind may have picked up a little bit where you are, coming out of the northeast now at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So what this means is a colder night, our coldest night of the next week, possibly the coldest night for the rest of 2024. We're forecasting a low of 35 in Austin, but we think there will be a lot of places closer to freezing. And if the temperature showing up closer to where you live is 34 or below, I would go ahead and protect your plants tonight, because a couple of degrees colder than expected, or perhaps the microclimate of your community may be colder than the nearest bigger city or town, and it may be cold enough for a freeze where you are. Georgetown, down to freezing. Below freezing in parts of the hill country. 33, still dangerously close to freezing in our eastern counties. So let's go ahead and protect the plants that you want to save just in case. So we'll go with 35 to start off your day tomorrow in Austin. So we do not expect a freeze at Austin's Camp Mabry. That has not had a freeze since last winter, by the way. And then we'll head for 63 in the afternoon, which is exactly average for tomorrow's seasonal temperatures. So 63 and sunny here tomorrow. Temperatures do warm up, 66 on Sunday, 70s beginning Monday. In fact, 70s every day next week. And as the warmth comes back, so will the humidity. It's going to start feeling muggy again late Sunday, but especially Monday and Tuesday. So in that muggy category with dew points in the 60s, feeling a little like it did a few days ago. Clouds and radar is clear. A local view as we take you into the weekend rather quickly because Saturday, still another very sunny day, perhaps a few high thin clouds late. But Sunday, as that moisture comes back, we'll notice more clouds. We'll call it a partly sunny day. I still think you'll manage at least some sunshine. And then plenty of clouds around Monday, even a chance for a stray shower or sprinkle of drizzle Monday, but I do expect more sun to come in for Monday afternoon. Highest rain chances will hold off until Tuesday, day before Christmas. Scattered showers and thunderstorms Tuesday and Tuesday night. That rain should mostly wrap up by Christmas Day. Just a low 10% rain chance on Wednesday, and then higher rain chances back for next Thursday and Friday. Still does not look like a lot of rain Monday through Friday of next week, but the amounts have trended up a little bit. Quarter inch or less for the hill country, a quarter inch to 1 inch for most of the metro and our eastern counties. And of course, you can always get some localized higher amounts in any thunderstorm. So here's a look at our first warning weather 7-day forecast. Still mostly dry through Monday, but Tuesday appears to be the active day, perhaps a busy travel day for people trying to get where they want to be before Christmas, maybe even grandmother's house. Wednesday, sun and clouds, 10% rain chance there for Christmas Day and the beginning of Hanukkah. Kwanzaa begins Thursday, 30% rain chances. That drops to 20% on Friday.
All right, nature's lawnmowers are back at Bowles Park in Pflugerville. Why use a machine when you have goats, of course? The city of Pflugerville calls it goatscaping. These animals are unleashed in parks to get rid of weeds, chomp down some overgrown areas, and even eat poison ivy. The same thing happens all along Ladybird Lake. The animals there popping up a few times a year to help get rid of the overgrowth here in downtown Austin.